Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday night. It is time for another episode of Minor League Fights and Insights. I'm really excited to be here. We're coming up to week number 4. It says May the 4th be with you. They're a week late. It's actually, we should be saying it right now for week number 4. Hey, Ron, how are you? It's nice to see you in chat. Anyways, it is time for episode number 8. I can't believe we've been doing this for 2 months now with you all. We're super excited. I'm here with my good friend Daniel Wright. How are you tonight, Daniel?
I'm awake. Hey, how you doing, guys? What's on the go?
No popcorn? No popcorn tonight?
You're lucky that I'm here with eyes wide open.
Awesome.
So we'll see how we go tonight. It'll be a good time.
Give me a second. I have their names mixed up. Let me...
No, I'm pretty sure that's Diggs. It's always been Diggs like that.
No, let me update that quick. All right, hold on. Let me just update this real quick. Let's see. Get to see a little behind the scenes. Now we got a little double Reno action there. You never have too much Reno.
Never.
All right. That's what your wife says. So, sorry. We'll keep it PG 13. Diggs video should be loading here in a second.
This is the R-rated episode.
Yes. We were talking about we need to do.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going back to bed.
We were talking we need to do what is it? Oh darn. Where did Nathaniel go? There he is. I don't know why. His video. There we go. It's being stingy.
It's all right, guys. We never have a plan for the show. This is normal. We're getting out of the way early.
Oh goodness! I could have just moved you all.
If you want, I can fill in and take Diggs' spot too. I could just be 2 people too.
Diggs said nope.
All right, sorry folks. Get to see a little behind the scenes stuff. Fun things that go into making a show. And we were just talking literally about, what was it? Making sure everything is perfect before the show starts.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, huh? I will blame myself for having that brought up.
Here we go. It's loading. Boom. We've got Nathaniel Diggs there. Excellent. Cool. All right. We've got his video. All right. Cool. Thank you. All right. We are here with Daniel. Daniel, good evening. We'll start this over. How's everybody doing tonight? All right.
We're doing good. Actually, I'm doing fine. I'm tired, but I'm still here, so let's get her done.
All right. Next up, we've got good friend Nathaniel Diggs. Nathaniel, how are you tonight? All right. Might be having some audio issues there.
I can tell he's working very hard at it.
Yes, he's been coming in and out of the Discord. I thought only Eddie Gage had these problems.
I experienced that firsthand.
Right?
If this is the case, we need to call Swollen. Swollen will fix this.
That's true. Nathaniel, can you hear? You want us to speak again? Let's see.
All right, Reno, we have to carry the show, it looks like.
Man, that's all right.
He was here for a second. All right. Well, we have Johnny Reno with us as well. Johnny, thank you so much for coming and being with us tonight. Appreciate you joining in tonight.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully Nathaniel will be able to figure that out. We'll get that in there. It's not muted on my end. So
All
it's
right.
just
I'm
you.
good.
There
I had
you
a
are.
connection with you.
Awesome.
Had a
Cool.
connection with you.
I can hear you. My good friend Nathaniel Diggs, everybody. Good evening. How are you tonight? Looks like we lost you again.
Is this a bit at this point?
I know he has mentioned many times that he is in, I want to say, Tennessee and in the boonies, and that his internet is sketchy sometimes. So, not to be alarmed. This is, we live and breathe in a society that we take for granted. All this connectivity that things just up and work, right?
Can you hear
There
me?
you are. Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Hey, I obviously have a bad connection tonight, so I'm going to cut out so it doesn't interfere with anything else.
No worries.
I'll try to catch you next time.
Sounds good. No worries. Thanks so much, Nathaniel.
All right. Okay.
All right, that is all right. Cool. Well, we've got the two of you, Daniel and Johnny.
Damn, I
Okay.
wasn't prepared to actually carry the show tonight.
You've got broad shoulders. You've been working out.
Okay, so Team Tacoma here.
Team Tacoma. I think we originally had a panel of what, like 6 people, and it's down to us, but that's okay.
That is right. I had a whole Brady Bunch layout for us all, trying to fit us all in. So, all right. Well, it is time. We thanks for joining us. Before we get too far, we've got a couple great people to talk to tonight. We love talking with members of our community. Tonight, it's no different. We've got with us Jordan from the San Jose Flight, quarterback. We also have joining us alongside him is Matthew Alvarado, inside linebacker for Madison. Good evening to the two of you.
Good evening, Axel. How's it going?
Things are going good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a nice night out.
Oh, good. And Matthew, you're doing well as well? Doing good?
I'm well. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I do have to say, and I was intentional not pronouncing your last name Jordan, because I know Daniel and I go back and forth on exactly how the pronunciation is, and I wanted to find out exactly from your lips to our ears, how do you pronounce your last name, or how do you prefer to be pronounced?
Well, not Snape like some of the people say, but it's Sipe.
Sipe? Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait,
I
I'm
was,
gonna
I,
ask a
I
question.
was watching week 1 and they were pronouncing it Snape. I was like, come on.
Cool.
I didn't realize there was any confusion. It seemed pretty straightforward.
Well, I said Sip a few times. I'll admit to that.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure how we say it.
Well, I was in track one time and they were announcing like who gets the medals and I was really excited. I finally got a medal and they're like Jordan Sipe. I was like, I can't handle you guys. Ruins the moment.
It's names are so open to interpretation. So I want to make sure that we do our due diligence in getting it right. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
All right. So I wanted to know a little bit about who is Jordan Sipe. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm a youth pastor in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I also run my own nonprofit organization, which is interesting. A lot of work to do there, but I also have a lovely, almost 7-month daughter and a wife named Alyssa. She is gorgeous, by the way. Absolutely. It's crazy. But yeah, I think I really like doing a community work and being in community with different communities. So I think that's about it. I love football, so
Okay.
that's why I'm here.
Did you play in school at all, or what's your history with football?
Well, I played up until 9th grade, and then I did stats for the team. So not much playing I did, but I'm absolutely fascinated with everything. So yeah.
Cool. I can't fault you. I was never able to play myself. So you have more experience than I have on the field. So kudos to that. So Matthew, I want to jump over to you and find out. Tell me a little bit about who Matthew Alvarado is.
Yeah, so I am out in beautiful, sunny LA, California.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful 70-degree evening tonight, so no complaints there. But I recently just transitioned over to a housing title company. So I've been doing that full time. I was working as a behavior therapist with kids with autism and other disabilities. So it's a pretty big transition for me as far as work goes. But then football wise, I played my whole life. Started youth football, Pop Warner, and got into high school. I played junior college ball. Wasn't quite good enough to play the whole 4 years. So then I moved over to they call it semi-pro, but it's just adult recreational tackle
Sure.
football. So I did that up until I was 30 and hung them up.
Awesome. I mean, 30 is a pretty good age to be able to be playing out there, even if it is, community ed kind of recreational type of football. So that is awesome.
Yeah, it was it was pretty well organized. It was a a real legit league, but
Okay.
yeah, 30. Once I got to 30, it was hard on the body. Couldn't do it anymore.
Makes sense. So Matthew, I was wondering, what has your SFL journey been like so far? I remember you were on our team last season, in season 4. Tell me about that and how it's been the last couple seasons.
You guys, it's first off, it's crazy how I even found this league. I was setting up my new Samsung TV, and Samsung TVs have these like preset channels on them, and I by accident made it over to like this weird sports channel, and it was the championship game from I think last year. It was like Baltimore and someone else. And I was like, holy smokes, this is a real thing. Like I got to be a part of it. So that's how I found the league, and I've been very happy with it up until now. So it's been a really good experience. It's very fun. I love engaging with the players in the locker room and watching myself out there on the field in a way, and it's been really cool.
That's awesome to hear. Jordan, same type of question. What has your experience been like since joining? How did you find the league?
Yeah, so I actually just found the league looking for different football games to play because Madden isn't, the best. And so I kind of ended up, I was looking for like computer games to play, and then it showed up, and I was like, what is this weird like concoction of I guess really I was just wondering what the community was, because it was just weird at first to kind of just read the ins and outs of it. I was like, nobody's doing this. This is new. So I checked it out, and I figured out that the community was something. Like I said, I really like community, so just to be in the community was crazy, because like after wins and stuff, everybody's like hyped in the chat. I'm like, that's a video game that people are getting excited about. So it's just something different, something I never really thought of, I guess. And I guess that's what makes it so polarizing, is nobody has thought about this, nobody has done it. So yeah, I guess that's kind of just how I found it, and it's been really awesome. The I guess couple months I've been in the league.
You were here last season, is that right too? I feel like I remember seeing you last season.
Oh yeah. I thought of myself as a big name last season. Okay, I even have a record. Okay, lowest completion percentage in a season. I thought of myself as like, I thought people would know me, but it's fine. Yes, yeah, I was here last season.
Awesome. I remember for Daniel and I and those that were able to join us last season on the show. So many names stand out, and like you don't. Even if you have the lowest completion percentage, you're still a name that we see very often in preparation for the show and in talking and watching the game. So just even know those watching, if you feel like you're not hitting the stats or you're not hitting the certain tackles or whatever, we know every single one of you. And there's a lot of GMs and owners that are going through all 106 or so players that are looking directly at you. So know that you're not alone. You're not some just random stat. So Just know
Yeah,
that.
we like to tell people it's not about the player on the field, it's about the player off the field. The owners and GMs, people like that, will pick you over your personality and who you are as a person over your player.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so hearing both you, Jordan, and Matthew coming on here is a great way to get to know you guys, who you are, what your story is, what you have to offer, what you're like in the locker room. Like I share a locker room with Matthew, great guy. We've been talking also in DM and really supportive and always there to hype us up and things when we need to. So, tell me, Jordan, what has been your favorite moment so far? Whether that's this season or last season, in the league so far.
Well, I definitely I'd have to say one of them is hearing my name for the first time being called. But I think this season, week 1, we went up against Albuquerque and we handled our business for sure. But just to kind of see, like, because last year we didn't really do that. We didn't make it to the playoffs or really do much. So to see kind of the locker room light up and be lit up throughout the season because people are really excited about winning, I think that is just second to none when it comes to this league. Is having your teammates be really pumped up each and every day, not just on game day. So.
Mm-hmm. And especially for someone that maybe thrives on the energy of the community and being part of that, I'm sure just lights you up and recharges you.
No, absolutely, it's crazy.
Same question for you, Matthew. What has been one of your favorite moments so far in your experience here?
Oh man, but hands down is winning the minor league championship last year in my rookie year into the league. That's it's gonna be tough to beat for sure.
Only way to beat it is by getting a second, right? We'll see.
Oh man, you going back to back would be amazing. But yeah, as of now, biggest accomplishment is winning that championship.
Awesome. Tell me, Matthew, what are some characteristics or traits of what an ideal pro team for you might be? Like, what would you, let's say you get drafted and go to a pro team. What type of characteristics would you hope to see on that team in their locker room or beyond?
I think it would be really cool to play for my hometown city. Being a part of a Los Angeles team would be awesome. But I don't know, any pro team that can bring the same traits and characteristics as the Madison locker room has been so far would check off all the boxes. Just a talkative chat room, and players pumping each other up, and just all the support and the motivation in there has been great. So a pro team that can bring that to the table would be great for me.
Awesome. And Jordan, what type of traits do you look for in a pro team?
Well, obviously an active community, but other than that, just a team who needs me as much as I need them. So, it sounds like an average journey to sit behind someone, but I want to go to one of the, lower teams that don't have an established quarterback and be there and grow with them and have sort of that history with them throughout the process. So, really looking forward to one of the teams that finished, I guess, in the lower part of the standings.
Sure. So you want to be able to like go in and maybe to an underdog or someone that's sort of rebuilding and be part of that infrastructure as they rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be the dream.
Cool. I'm going to hand it off to Daniel. Daniel, do you have any questions for these fellas?
Yeah, I do. But before I do that, starting off with an underdog team, great feeling. I had the pleasure of doing that with Tulsa. We made the playoffs for the first time in 2 in real life years. So
Wow.
that was really fun. It's a really good experience. I hope you do get that. But Jordan, your question. Expansion is just around the corner. That's 4 new teams. Opens up a whole lot of playing field for a quarterback. What do you think about the idea of playing with a brand new team, an expansion team for the very first time, and making history that way?
Well, I hope the players that get on the team, I hope they are very verbal. That's kind of my only worry. I know that some people have been getting kicked off of certain teams because they don't do progressions or they're in it for just a little while. I want a team that's really really in it and just to So my only worry is that we're not going to have that aspect of the league, which is really just the most thrilling part. Other than that, I couldn't I couldn't care less if we do bad for the first couple seasons while we build. So I'm extremely excited if I was to go to an expansion team for that.
Very nice, very nice. Matthew, you were one of the touted people that surprisingly didn't get drafted last season. One of the few linebackers. What do you think is different this season compared to last? Have you done any different with talking with teams potentially for the potential draft coming up?
I was in talks with teams last year, but because I had joined my first minor league season, I want to say maybe halfway or even less than halfway into it, I wasn't happy with my player's progression and his skill level compared to everybody else yet. So I made the decision to stay in the minors for another season, get some attributes under my belt, and I have to say I'm very happy with my decision. Just watching my guy and our defense out there has been really exciting because he's able to keep up and he's doing very well. So I am looking forward to this year's draft, and one of my long-term goals was to be a first-round draft pick. So I hope that can come to fruition.
Yeah, I actually I have you highly. I think you'll be a first rounder for sure. So all the best of luck to you on that. Johnny, did you have any questions?
Yeah, maybe one for each. First of all, Jordan, I'm glad you're here. I was in the same position you were in last year on the show, answering questions as a quarterback. So glad a quarterback came on. Surprisingly, a lot of them haven't been available to join the shows. But my biggest question is more of, I guess, and they may have touched on it a little bit, but last year compared to this year, from a first year quarterback, and as a quarterback, you're the face of the team essentially. But first year to second year, have you seen any or noticed any differences as far as your involvement? I guess, leading up to, I guess, a draft per se. But do you feel you're in a better position this year than maybe you were last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year, I wasn't really talkative last year. I was still trying, well, last season, I was really trying to kind of figure out what it was all about, who to talk to, what progression was. And I guess this season was the newer interface, but so now I can finally have that time that I spent figuring things out to really be in community with, I guess, mainly my receivers. I think, they're great guys. Shout out to Azaria, Jay, and Terrell. But I think, yeah, just kind of stepping up and being active and showing them that being active is, where it's at. You have those relationships that you make that you don't think you would make in the beginning. So I kind of just stepped up and trying to be a quarterback, I guess, and what that would entail both in the game and in real life as far as leadership.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I was in the minors for 3 seasons, and sometimes it takes going through the draft process and realizing what you need to do to improve to, um, you know, make teams aware that you're out there. Um, Matthew, I don't really have a question. As they were talking to you earlier, I was scrolling through because I was pretty sure that you were drafted last year, and then came to realization that you weren't. Um, but were you involved or during the draft process? I know you said you talked to a couple teams, but did you think that you were going to get drafted? I mean, obviously you were okay not and staying and progressing, but were you anticipating to be drafted last time?
I honestly was not. I thought if I were, I would be like a very low round, or I don't know, maybe like I don't know if they do undrafted free agents in this league, but or something along those lines. But like I said, it was a goal of mine to be like a first round draft pick. Shooting for number 1 overall. Like, who doesn't want to see that? So, but yeah, but I had teams, reaching out and they asking if I would, change positions or do 2-way contract, which I would be totally cool with. But after a full year of that minor league season under my belt, I would feel a lot more comfortable going into the pros that way.
For sure. Yeah, the 2 ways were new last draft, so that was an experience, I'm sure. But yeah, no doubt you'll be at the top of the list for a lot of teams this next draft.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, Matthew, I don't know if it was last game or the game before, you had 13 or 14 in the teens in tackle. So, and I'm sure you're just going to keep getting more monstrous and monstrous. So, and I don't know exactly when, Matthew, you'll be going up against Jordan. I think it might be the week after this week. So, nice that you guys are being introduced to each other under cordial circumstances at this moment. So,
no, it'll be fun. I'll definitely be rooting for him now that I've gotten to know him. So, looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be awesome to go against somebody I know. I don't know a lot of the people out there, so it'll be really interesting to be able to root for him on defense, and hope he doesn't pick the ball off at all. So
well,
I dropped a wide open pick 6 the other night, so don't worry about that.
Linebackers have stone hands. Yeah. Jordan, I'm supposed to ask, how much do you love your defensive coordinator?
Who is that? No,
I think
I
I
forget.
think Art.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole staff, has been wonderful in kind of helping me get through the process of learning everything. So everybody, not just Art, but everybody has been really influential, and some people that when I move on to major leagues, I'll definitely be hitting up quite often.
Awesome. And I do want to make a little call out to all the GMs and owners watching right now. Right now, these two people, I feel, and again, Daniel and Johnny, who can back me up, I feel like really, after talking to a number of people, I feel like these two are really solid culture ads, even beyond their player. And I feel like their players are poised to do some really, really good stuff, continue to do great stuff this minor league season, and should be on everybody's draft board if they need these roles. So.
Definitely, yeah. It's great to get people up here because this is the first time we actually get to talk and actually introduce and get to see who they are beyond their players. So it's always good having new people on to interview.
Absolutely. I want to give you guys a little last word. Jordan, do you want to go first? Any final words you want to say to anybody watching out there?
Well, I mean, I have the best touchdown to interception ratio out of quarterbacks. So first overall pick. Come on, guys. Come on. But no, in all seriousness, shout out to my whole team, especially the new guys that said they were coming out to watch this. Thank you guys for your support, and yeah, hopefully the rest of the season goes well.
Awesome. And Matthew, same thing to you. Do you have any final words that you'd like to say to anybody watching?
Yeah, just thank you guys again for having me on. I wish I knew about this sooner, or else I would have been on a long time ago. But yeah, thank you guys. Madison, shout out to you guys. Love all you guys. Just GMs and owners, just keep an eye on me, and I think I can make a huge contribution to your team next season in the pros. So just keep your eye.
Well, I hope to hear both of your names called early on draft day. So I think that is, I want to say maybe like June 25th or something like that. So we're inching away towards maybe 6 weeks away. Should be an absolute fun time. We've got a lot of fun in between now and then as well. So thank you both for coming on. We really appreciate both of you making the time, sharing a bit about yourselves with all of us. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, and thank you for all the work you three do.
Guys. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, see you later.
All right. That's fun. It's really nice. Both of them, anytime they want to come back on the show, we're here for them because they seem to know what they're doing. So appreciate that.
Best part about that is once more we hear about it being a community first before a game, and that's the best part, right? Jordan came here and didn't know how big of a community it is, and now he's absolutely in love with it. And that's just the way it affects people, and how all of us are kind of entranced in that melody of the same way.
Absolutely. So now we get to go some of the good stuff. I guess that was really good stuff. It's like the Oreo. There's no bad part. You've got the cookie. It's just a different type of good. You got the middle stuff. This is the middle stuff, the frosting. I don't know. So we've got last week's games. Let's talk a little bit about last week's games.
Are you hungry, Axel? You can tell us if you're hungry.
I wish I had some popcorn or something. Anyways, so we've got last week's games. We got 4 games. Game 1, Pitt. We saw Madison take on Lincoln. This was an interesting game. It was a tough, hard fought game from both sides. I think Madison was in the lead for a majority of it, but Lincoln was able to come back and was able to take it over in overtime, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Man, it feels like like 3 weeks ago or something. Time has flown by so fast. Daniel, what is your take on this game, Madison versus Lincoln?
So Lincoln had me very worried at the start of the game when they couldn't get any points, and Madison were just having a field day on the run. Especially Marcus Duncan had a huge game, 163 yards and 2 TDs. I remember seeing both of them in the first. But Lincoln was able to stand their ground in the second half. I think that was the biggest thing. They stood their ground in the second half, started scratching away whenever they could, and that was really the big factor of how they got back in the game. And yes, the game did go to OT and ended on a field goal.
I'm sure you're really happy seeing Lincoln getting at least one win now this season.
Yeah, but they got a big and hard game next week, or this weekend, I should say.
Yeah. Johnny, were you able to catch this game?
So, no, I didn't. Bits and pieces of it, but I was just kind of looking over some stats, and one of the stats I was going to mention was Marcus Duncan had a huge game. My takeaway from this game, just kind of, glancing a little bit, was I think Madison's demise was the mistakes. It looks like Moon had 3 picks, and then on the opposite side, it looked like Kenny Slider he was extremely accurate. He was 41 for 49, completed 83% of his passes. So you take that in consideration versus the mistakes that maybe came on the offensive side from Madison. That probably was the difference maker. I'm glad Matthew Alvarado came on the show. I had some honorable mentions as far as stats go for this game. I was going to mention him. He had 12 tackles in this game on the defensive side of the ball. And then also John Fowler, who I thought would be on the show today, but he also had 9 tackles and 7 assists. So a couple of mentions there. But again, looking on it seemed like the mistakes on the offensive side of Madison's probably what caused a lot of that.
You're reminding me of what was going on. I feel like I blocked out the negative stuff that happened during the game. So now I'm sort of reliving it. I'm like, oh yes, the slider to Lottie Lou could not be stopped. That was one thing that could as well as why am I blanking on the other person's name? The other wide receiver, maybe wide receiver number 2, also could not be stopped. Ultimately, Slider could not be stopped with passing. It was a very solid performance by Kenny Slider. All right, game number 2, we saw Annapolis being taken over by San Jose. Johnny, what is your take on this game? Or is this one that you were able to watch?
Again, bits and pieces of it. I didn't get to completely watch any of them, except for the Tacoma game. I did watch that one. But
cool. Well, I'll make sure to let you.
I wonder why, right?
I'll let you go to that one.
Yeah, it was a good week to be a Grizzly. But again, looking at it, the one thing that's surprising to me, last season I was in the minors and it seemed like nobody could stop Randy Squarebush. And this is no knock on him, but he was just completely unstoppable. But even looking at his stats, he had 115 yards and a touchdown, which is good. But for the most part, what he's used to doing, they shut him down. So I feel like that was huge. Any defensive scheme that you can come up with to shut Randy Squarebush down, I think you put your team in a better position. Jordan Sipe, who was just on the show, he had 248 yards and a couple touchdowns. So great performance by him. It seemed for the most part it was pretty dominating by San Jose, which I was honestly surprised. I'm going to end it off. I like the shout outs. I'm going to give 2 shout outs to a couple of my teammates in Fort Worth that were on 2 ways. But Jerry Gond had 10 tackles, and then also running back J.Z. Bacon, he rushed for 232 yards and had 4 touchdowns. So great performances by those guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I also was not able to watch the entire game. I saw the ticker during the Madison game, and it was just like not expecting to see Annapolis for the most part held to a field goal for the majority of the game, while San Jose ended up dropping a 50 burger on them. Was not something that I expected. Daniel, what's your take on the game?
So what happened with this game? I was able to watch a good fair portion of this. Is San Jose got ahead early, when you get ahead early in the game, the running back becomes less useful because you're trying to make up the point. So even though Ryan Scorbus did have 115 yards, he only had 20 carries. We're used to seeing the big carries from him, the big runs, the big carries to get him down. And it really had to be Gene Struthers who actually had to get them back in this game. And well, stat-wise, he had 5 picks. So San Jose came with a game plan. They executed. And like you said, J.C. Bacon had a tremendous game. When your yards per carry is 10, you're averaging a first down every carry you have. You know you're in good right there.
Let's say this all together. J.C. Bacon was 1, 2, 3, sizzling. No?
Yeah, I'm not saying
that. Darn it. All right, I'm sure there was some people watching who knew where I was going with it.
I knew you were going too. It was either one of two ways, and I had a feeling it was going to be sizzling.
All right. So game 3, we saw Tacoma travel south to Albuquerque. Johnny, we'll give you this one. Tell me more about this game.
Well, overall, it was a heck of a game. I think it was even throughout most of it. I'm going to go with, to me, the difference in the game. I blanked out for a second. Ty Patak. I was trying to remember how to say his last name. But I think the big difference so far, as a first-year quarterback, he's been able to limit his mistakes. On the season, he has 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Pretty good ratio for a brand new guy off the streets. But, he also has Shane Kaufman as a wide receiver and T. DeQueen. They both stepped up. And so he's got some targets to throw to. But him limiting his mistakes has been key so far, and it played a role in this game. He had 281 yards and a couple touchdowns to no interceptions. So I think he's played above, I think, what we all expected. The offense has been better than I think we all expected. And that's coming from last year when, I was there, Shane Kaufman was there, Brad Jones was there. We had this high-powered offense that everybody thought so much of. But these guys, taking over in our roles have really stepped up, and I think Tacoma looks pretty good so far.
I feel like Ty Patak was found in an Applebee's parking lot, I think, after Bear left. So, we need somebody.
I saw something where he explained how to say his last name, and I was trying to remember how did he pronounce that. But.
Yep, I think it's the Patak. Yeah. Or I think it's like J. Jules Mason in Twitch. Anyways, Daniel, were you able to catch some of this game?
Well, since I made Ty my superstar of the year now, technically, kinda, because we lost someone and he said I can volunteer to get cursed. I'm glad that he didn't get cursed. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, the lack of an interception on his side, which last week the interception was the key factor in the game, right? The interception at the goal line was able to let San Jose come back the week prior. My question for Tacoma is what happens if Shane Kaufman gets shut down, right? He had 10 catches out of 12 targets for 141 yards and a touchdown. T did really good last week. She had a pretty good game this week, another 57 yards to it. But this game was all about Shane Kaufman. And surprisingly enough, J.P. Elliott had 79 rush yards. So he actually had a pretty good game himself. But if Shane Kaufman gets shut down, what's going to happen to Tacoma's offense after this?
Yeah, I know they've got Christopher Dean in as a fullback and new Christian Bacigalupi. Christian Bagels? Is that what you call him?
I call him Bagels. Bacigalupi.
Bacigalupi. Thank you. I don't want to mispronounce. Big guy, big target out there for him. We'll see what they can do. I also know. Albuquerque's just waiting for their chance to come back in. They've got a solid coaching staff up there with Josh Williams, Swole, and it's just a matter of time until they figure out exactly what's working for them. Game 4, we saw Lexington coming in and taking it to Ottawa. Daniel, what was your take on that game?
So this is the game I didn't really get to see, unfortunately. I got to see a good portion of them, but I think from what I heard, this was all about the defense of one person in particular. I'm going to see if I can scroll down and get the name. Travis Arthur had 4 picks in this game alone. the two-way contracted player from Tulsa. I should remember his name. He's from Tulsa after all. But he also had 6 tackles, solo tackles, and 4 assisted. So he was in the game the entire time, making plays. And I think that was the big thing of what happened here to allow Lexington to get the lead. Because as we all know, they had a brand new quarterback going into this game. And while he did okay, 14 for 23, but he did have 3 picks himself, if I remember reading that right. Oh no, wrong team. My apologies. But like overall, I mean, what are you gonna do? No, that's right. It's 3 picks, yeah. But like he new quarterback, it happens, routine like that. So Lexington survived and actually controlled the narrative of this game based solely on their defense, by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm. If I remember right, Ottawa was struggling for most of the game, trying to get some points on the board, and it wasn't until maybe too late in the game getting that touchdown towards the end. Johnny, what do you see in the stats and such? Or were you able to watch this game?
Yeah, half of it.
That's
I try
enough.
to catch as much as I can.
Yeah.
But like Daniel mentioned, Travis Arthur had 4 picks. Sarvis Jive threw a total of 6 interceptions. So when you throw 6 picks, it's hard to stay balanced, because then you're just constantly, like Daniel said, regarding another game, you're just throwing, trying to stay alive. So that's probably part of it. Another reason I wanted to tune into this game, somebody I met earlier on in my SFLm career, Isaiah King, had retired, I believe as a safety at the pro level, and he came back as a wide receiver. So this was his first game as a wide receiver. So I was interested to see him perform, even as a new guy. But he had 4 receptions for 42 yards. So that was something I was kind of keeping my eye on as watching the game. But yeah, turnovers were the key here. It's just hard to stay balanced when you're throwing picks like that. So
yep,
that was the name of the game there.
Gotcha. Well, each of these teams, all 8 of them, have a chance for redemption this Friday, or to continue on their streak that they might be on. So let's jump then into the upcoming games. So our first one, we see Ottawa again, also traveling south to Albuquerque to take on the Adams. There's a lot of players on Ottawa's team. They've got Terrence Pearson at cornerback. They have a full complement of 6 defensive backs, 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. It's I think 19 players, which is 4 short of a pro team right now out there. Daniel, what do you think about this matchup here?
So, even though Ottawa didn't win the game last week, last week they did get the INTs, and this is where the defense always kind of kicks in. They don't score a whole lot of points. This is a trend I'm seeing with Ottawa. They don't score a whole lot, but their defense does enough to win them the game usually and generally. And Albuquerque, they've been really struggling. They've been struggling on offense. They've been only getting field goals when they can. This is Ottawa's prime target going in this week to recover and get a win. I feel like this is going to be a good game for Ottawa, and Albuquerque, they might still be winless after this week.
And Johnny, what's your take on this game?
I think overall it's a pretty even matchup. I think what you alluded to earlier, that Albuquerque will turn the page, and I think this is the game that they do it. I think they figure it out, and I think they put some points on the board. Overall, it looked pretty even aside from the total amount of players, but overall, I think Albuquerque will change things up this week and get a W.
Sure. And so we've got Cyrus Jive as the head of Ottawa versus Trellis Blanton at gold, heading up Albuquerque. I'm curious on how they might do again against each other's defenses. It looks, at least on paper, they're pretty, other than Terrence Pearson on Ottawa, their defensive backs, the secondary, seems pretty similar. Nothing too difference other than Albuquerque has a lot of returning 2-way players on that defense. It might be their time to shine and sort of pick up that mantle, especially after most of them were Mud Dogs last season and are probably seeking again, redemption, trying to get that back into that, get a win in that win column. Do either of you have any type of maybe star player from either of these teams that you think might go big, or you're hoping, or someone to watch out of this game?
Once again, if you're gonna ask me for star players and they leave next week, I swear it's not because of me, okay? But I'm a big fan of certain someone on the Adams. We all know him. I always give the fingers like this. Mickey, he's been playing a phenomenal season so far as a kicker. I don't think he's missed one yet. If I could be wrong, but every time I see him, he's always knocking it through. So if Albuquerque do win, Mickey's gonna have a big game.
Gotcha. And I know you were saying he's been important in their scoring, any of their scoring so far in the games that they've played so far. That field goals, sadly, might be where they've been getting a lot of their points. So,
oh yeah, definitely. They've been struggling getting in the end zone.
Johnny, anyone that stands out that you think might have a blowout game, or someone who might that you might be watching?
Well, I think this is the week that Albuquerque breaks out offensively. You mentioned Blanton, the gold quarterback, so I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go Odeby. He's somebody that I've kind of paid attention to, at least this season. I know he's the wide receiver too, but I think between him and TT Crystal, one of them's going to have a breakout game. I'm calling Odeby for no particular reason, but one of the two wide receivers I think is going to have a big game.
Gotcha. For me, so I think it sounds like both of you are saying Albuquerque. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna say I think Ottawa is going to have a big game. I think their front seven is going to be the things that I think they're going to get pressure on Trellis, and their offense is going to start to produce more numbers than what we've typically seen. I think that's my assumption. Just gut, I guess you could say. So have to be a little different, I guess. All right, so that wraps that game up. Our next game, we see Annapolis visiting Lincoln down in Nebraska. We see Gene Struthers and coming up against Kenny Slider, who Kenny Slider had a really solid, high-performing game last game in their win against Madison. Johnny, what's your thought on this game, this matchup?
Well, I'm gonna say that I think Annapolis's offense, it goes back to, I guess, what I'm used to seeing. I think Randy Squarebush has himself a game again. Could be wrong, but it's hard to tell. I mean, I'm a big Gene Struthers fan too. I think he's in his second or third season. But those two guys, and you got Darby as a wide receiver. I don't think Squarebush is held to 115 yards like he was last week. I think he has himself a game and kind of takes it away.
Sure. And Daniel, what are your thoughts on the matchup?
I love Lincoln. I'm really rooting for them. But Randy Squarebush is going to be angry. The Navigators team is angry after that loss. They got embarrassed. I'm going to put it out there. They got embarrassed last week. And now they're going to be really angry. I know Kenny Slider stat-wise looks like the better of the quarterbacks, but remember, there's an animation there. So Gene Struthers might actually have the better stats in comparison if you take out the animation. Same with Logan Lee. Well, Logan Lee has an animation too, but Ryan Squarebush has several, but his stats actually support what he's actually doing. So I think besides numbers like that, I think this is going to be Navigators. I'm sorry, Lincoln. I'm glad you got your first win last week, but you guys just don't have the offense as of right now. That could change going this game. I think Ricky Tullis might be out of the lineup. I saw something about potentially him come back and not come back, and they just got another wide receiver today, so they could have 3 wide receivers going into Friday.
Gotcha. Do either of you have any standouts, standout performances, people to keep an eye on for this game on either side?
I'll start. The cornerbacks for Lincoln have been doing really well. The female gang up, Franklin Custer and Skibby Curtis. So I think I'm going to say Franklin Custer. If they get Gene Shores to throw a ball, we've seen he can be pick heavy. if he's have to try and come back from a game or come back to win a game. I think Franklin Custer will have a pretty good game. Their throwing to Orain Darby and Ray Gennaro has been really good. You expect them to do better, but Gene Struthers has had potential to turn the ball over, as we've seen last week.
And Johnny?
I'm going to go with my honorable mention from earlier. I know he's a two-way player. He's actually playing in the pros he was as a defensive lineman, but Jerry Degon had himself a game last week. I think he continues that. I think he's an interesting player to watch. Yeah, he's my pick.
Gotcha. I'm going to say for my pick for someone to watch is going to be the father of the father-daughter. That's Frankie Custer, the strong safety for Lincoln. I think he's going to have a lot of tackles because he's going to be the one forced to tackle Randy Squarebush as he comes through the line and the linebacker core, and he's going to be the last resort. I do think he's probably going to have, if not Frankie, then one of the other secondary. I think there probably will be 1, 2, maybe 3 interceptions, but I think Annapolis is going to run away literally with the win with this game, personally. So, all right, that brings us to Tacoma versus Madison. We see Tacoma coming into Wisconsin to take on the Lynx. Yeah, I'm going to start with Daniel. What is your take on this matchup?
First time in a week, I feel a little better about my odds about saying anything bad about Madison with this panel. I feel like we got Tacoma boys and Axel, who's on defense both ways on this game, so I feel a little good saying I like Tacoma. Tacoma's been playing really well. And Ty, I'm believing in you, brother. You got to keep it up. JP Elliott had a good game last week. They're figuring things out on the offense that other teams have still been struggling with. They're thrown to the two-way player. I know this is controversial, and some people have their own opinions about two-way players, how they might be oversigned and over actual people need to be drafted. But if you got the tools, use them. And right now, Tacoma's definitely using them to their full potential. And their defense has surprisingly been playing really well in comparison to what their stats would say.
And Johnny?
Yeah, that was one thing. I bragged about the Tacoma offense earlier when we went over the games, but the defense has been stellar so far. One player that I'm anticipating a breakout is Xander Moon. I don't know if you'll notice this, but I tend to zone in on the QBs. But Xander Moon so far to me has had less of a season than I thought he would by now. I think he only has 1 touchdown so far on the season. I'm not sure of how many interceptions, but I think he's due a breakout game. I think he's one to watch. I know they're feeding Marcus Duncan a lot, outstanding running back, but I think they go a little more pass heavy this game. As much as I love Tacoma and everything, I think Madison's offense is going to have a decent game. We'll see what happens. I'm not making a pick in this game, but I think that the challenge is going to be stopping Madison's offense for sure.
I felt really good about Team Tacoma here, but okay.
Daniel, you grind my gears.
Oh, God damn it.
No, I have to agree with Reno or Johnny. That I think Marcus Duncan is going to do a similar to last week. Really solid performance, pulling his weight, like he should be as a one of the better, obviously behind Randy Squarebush, but one of the top running backs in the minor league right now. Really playing to his capability, but finding a balance, which I don't think Madison really had in the first 2 games. And then last game, I think there was a lot of hope coming into it. There's a lot of shining moments that were happening. There were some picks by Moon, but I think it's going to work on them. That he's been working on them this week in practice and things. And I think they're going to get the nice balance going between the two of them. And I think Madison might roll over Tacoma. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, you can say it. I believe in Ty. I believe in T the Queen, and I guess Shane's all right as well.
I was trying to be neutral and not make a pick, but that's okay.
Yeah. I have to go. I'm right now with Madison for myself, just because I see some of the games. Let's just say that. But that's only on one side. You know, we never know. The game plans change so much, so it's going to be a fun game. It might be the game to watch. We'll see. Out there, I hope both teams do well. Again, as you know, Daniel and Johnny, I don't dislike anybody out there in the league. It's just picks, just random, not random, but
You're
gut
on
choices.
Madison. You have to pick Madison. We completely understand.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. So our last one might give this game the game of the week run for its money kind of thing. So here we see San Jose Flight coming in over to Lexington to take on the Miners. Miners were able to, with a copper brand fresh new ex Usman quarterback coming in here and was able to make do and find ways to get points up on the board and sort of slow down Ottawa last week. But the Flight dropping 51 points last week, that's an uphill battle for Ethan Kai and the Miners. I'm excited. I feel like this might be the game again, knowing the Miners head coach Ethan going up against the Flight and what they've been able to put together with Greg Soto and things on offensive coordinator there, Art with the defense there, really solid coordinators and a really solid team as well. Johnny, we'll start with you on this one. What's your take on how this game might play out?
This definitely is the game of the week, personally. You mentioned Ethan Kai earlier. I don't see him allowing J.C. Bacon to rush for 4 touchdowns like he did last week, or Jordan Sipe having the game that he did. And I love those guys. I'm not saying they're going to get completely shut down, but I don't see them just running over the Lexington defense like they have the past 3 games. I think Lexington wins, and I know they have a brand new quarterback. They may have a little bit of struggles on the offense, but I see Lexington's D stepping it up enough and them squeezing out a victory. It's going to be a close game, but I think they squeeze out a W.
Yeah, I remember. Ethan's been posting a little bit in our Discord server. He's really confident going into the game, and in Ethan's confidence, be on the lookout because there's some black magic going on. He's got a deal with the devil or something, I think, and I mean that in the best way possible. Daniel, what's your take on this game?
Ethan Kai will say this is game of the week as well.
No doubt.
So here's the problem. I love Ethan Kai. I love Lexington. I love what they do. San Jose has put up a 40 bomb and a 50 bomb this season. They put up a 40 and a 50. You got to stop this offense big time. And it's not even just the offense. The defense are actually getting the picks as well in order to continue to translate into that point. This is an uphill battle for Lexington. I'm saying San Jose has the advantage going into this game. Travis Arthur had a tremendous game last week. He's going to have to repeat that, and a few others might have to repeat that in order for them to get into a shot. Because Lexington's offense, while their defense is superb, their offense has been a bit of a struggle. They've been turning their wheels or gears. They've been digging around the cave or the mine just enough to get the points, get the win. But their offense needs to show up for this game because San Jose, they've been something else. They have been tremendous to watch, and I can't go against San Jose after I went against them last week and the week before. I gotta go San Jose on this one.
Gotcha. And I mean, any logical person might do that, not knowing anything behind the scenes too. This one is going to be tight. I honestly, I'm going to have to go Miners. Just I think they might edge it out. I'm a big fan of underdogs too. I'd love to be able to see maybe the Miners upset the Flight on their way to trying to get to that championship, and the Miners sort of stealing that win away from them. So, any standouts with this game that either of you think to watch? I know you mentioned Daniel Travis Arthur, Oklahoma native, I believe in Oklahoma City or Tulsa, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I will give because I like playing devil's advocate. I'll give a few for. I'll give another one for Lexington. I think Isabel Blackwell, if they can get like the safety game, like I was saying, I think Isabel Blackwell will have a good game if they can get the turnovers. And on the other side for San Jose, I'm always the defensive guy. Like Johnny's always zoning in on the corners. I'm looking at the secondary all the time. But I'll give a linebacker some love. I think Stan Diamond, he's kind of new. He doesn't have all the stats, but he's probably going to be the forefront and really stop this Lexington running game. So Chad Moore will have to throw more, and that might be disastrous because he's still learning the ropes, sort of.
And Johnny, anybody to look out for?
I'm gonna name two people. I think since Lexington has a newer quarterback, they'll throw the ball some, but I think they're going to rely heavily on the running game. Um, Christian Pierce is the running back, and Scott Powell is the fullback. I noticed that at least last week, maybe the week prior, that they've relied on both of those guys. I think Scott Powell as a fullback even had 30, 40-ish rushing yards. I could be a little off, but they're giving both of those guys the ball. Kind of a dynamic duo there. So I think between the both of them, I think you're going to see some yards put up in the running game for Lexington.
Gotcha. I'm hoping to see. Being an outside linebacker, I want to be able to get back into the backfield to take down quarterbacks like you, Johnny. I think that Forrest Dalton might be the arch nemesis of Jordan Sipe. Maybe getting back there and getting really well acquainted back there. But I do think that Sipe might. I think that DJ Bear Bandit might have a good game out there as well. I feel it's just bound for him to throw to the tight end kind of thing. So we'll see how that all plays out. Lots of different ways and options that this thing can go, but it's bound to be the game of the week. So that's what we're dubbing it. So that sort of wraps up the 4 games coming up. We talked about last week's 4 games. We met 2 new great people, 2 new, not really new friends of ours, existing minor league players, Jordan Sipe and Matthew Alvarado. Great to have them on. Daniel, any last words for tonight before we wrap up?
Yeah, it was really great having them on. Superb being able to talk with them, converse with them, get to know them. My biggest last words is tune in tomorrow for the honor show, where we get to see all the awards given out that we've voted on throughout the season or throughout what they did for the pros, and make an impact award. I think that's going to be superb. I'm really excited to see who gets nominated, gets to be part of that new award that they're giving out for community people. And it's good to see that they're actually taking the community into account, who actually is being really well with the community, who's helping the community, stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if all goes well, we might actually get a picture of who might be in the All-Star game, and fingers crossed here for this one.
I'm fingers crossed for you too as well, Daniel. You had such a great season this last season. Sadly, it ended just a little shorter than what you would have liked. But I talking with you, you love that you guys were able to get to that first playoff win, and you were able to get to that second level in there as well, and play your hearts out.
Yeah. We made history. We can always say now that Tulsa's first ever playoff win was us, and no one can take that away from us. So I'm superb at the season we had compared to last season.
Absolutely, thank you, Johnny. Any last words from you tonight?
No, just once again, and thank Jordan and Matthew for coming on. I love when these guys come on the show because you get to know them. I'm now both of their number 1 fans, so I appreciate those guys. I was just excited to have a quarterback on. I think last season during the interviews, I joined and Scar Patterson joined. I think he's the only other quarterback that's on. So glad to see quarterbacks represent. Jam-packed next 3 days, like Daniel mentioned. We have the honors ballots, the SFLm on Friday, and then a championship game on Saturday with tons of announcements coming out. So the next 3 days are going to be really exciting. So
absolutely. I did have something. Gosh, I was going to say something funny, just like dad joke stuff, and it totally left my mind. Oh no, it was. I wanted to wish you, Johnny, a good dinner. Have a good dinner tonight. That's my final words. Have a good dinner. Thanks for coming on.
I'm glad I decided to stay and come on and do this. So
Good. Tell your wife thanks. Enjoy your dinner
I'm
tonight.
also glad that I had someone else on the panel to help me with this.
right, I doubt it was a whole lot of help, but glad to be here. I will try to come on as much as I can.
Yep. I always appreciate when you're able to find the time. And for anybody on out there watching, if you want to come on either for an interview, you want to be part of the show, just let us know. That's how John Fowler, who had some family stuff that come up, wasn't able to join us tonight, but he's been on for a couple episodes. If you want to come on, try your hand at this, or come on for an interview, we'd love to have you. Other than that, join us in the Discord server, in the chat room there, or we'll see you in the SFLm Gen Chat or regular Gen Chat. Over at the SFL Discord server. Anyways, yeah. So for me, Daniel and Johnny, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys maybe in the chat tomorrow night, or we'll see you in the chat at the games on Friday night. All right. Well, with that, then, good night, everybody.
See you later.